All right, all right. Yeah, what happened? You got
Well, no,
like
no, no. I do have a Ukraine flag, but I can't show you because if I stand up, you'll see it. But on the other hand, you'll be demonetized.
Really?
So he has a tattoo. Okay.
admit. Oh, you got a bottle. You got a
Oh,
bottle
oh,
joint.
I see, I
Perfect.
see. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, everybody, for joining our panel today. How you doing? Welcome to tonight's stream. We're doing something special, something that's close to the heart of a lot of us here. This is a chill panel. We're more of a chill, relax. I'm not going to ask the panelists like hard-hitting geopolitical questions, maybe to Nick and Soy Pill, but but we'll see where
I
we're
think
going. This is going to be just kind of a what do you got?
I was saying Nick's probably way smarter than me. I can just repeat things I read. Like,
Nice,
Same.
nice. Okay, cool. So, but we're going to be talking about Ukraine and reasons why we support Ukraine, etc. We're all coming together to support Cars for Ukraine, which is a grassroots initiative delivering real vehicles to Ukrainian defenders on the front lines. I also have a video I'm going to play for the panel and everybody shortly. This isn't some big corporate fundraiser. You know, it's just us, real people showing up to help in real ways. Whether you got a platform, you just care deeply, tonight is about pushing this fundraiser across the finish line before Easter. Every single dollar helps save lives. The link to donate is pinned in the chat and down in the description of my stream. Even $5, $10, a dollar, 50 cents, whatever you got. It makes a difference. We've all seen it. Now let's do something powerful tonight. You know, let's have some great conversations. And we're going to start off with some introductions. And I'm just going to go in the order I see you guys in my panel here. Let's go around and let folks introduce themselves. Say your name, you know, your YouTube channel, your handle, or you know, just if you don't have a YouTube channel, it's what it is. How you got involved with either NAFO or you know how or just YouTube and supporting Ukraine, or if you know whatever you got, or and anything you want people to know about you. Okay, just keep it short as you can. Let's start with Canty.
Well, it started out that I wanted to go to the old Kevnian Rus medieval empire and visit the castles. And as I was planning my trip, Russia invaded Ukraine.
so they ruined your vacation, so you're pro Ukraine.
Yeah,
That's all it takes.
God damn it. No, it's just so supported Ukraine, learned more about it because honestly, I knew a hell of a lot more about medieval history of the area than recent history. So learning the recent histories and everything else, and everybody's saying, "Oh, you can't go to Ukraine. You can't go to Ukraine." And like, part of my name is, "Oh, can't I?" So I went. Everybody said, "Oh, you should stream. You should stream." Okay, I'll stream. And now here I am a year later, still streaming, still trying to raise awareness and keep the sport going.
Incredible. And thank you so much for your efforts, Canty. Let's go with Renegade Chungus.
Most of you guys already know me, Renegade Chungus YouTube. I'm just out here trying to fundraise for Ukraine any way I can. Teamed up right now with Kantai Ludin, who I've probably mispronounced his name 30, 40, 50 times, I don't know, a day, because I call him Canty. I'm going to continue.
It actually is Kantai. It's Kantai.
It is Kantai?
Wow. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
No,
so I've been
Canty's fine.
Canty it is. But yeah, just, started with... got some friends in the city and need a fundraiser done, one or two, and it was really rough at first. It's been smoothing out now, and I'm absolutely hooked on doing it, to the point to where I end up just absolutely crashing because I'm out of energy from doing it. I don't know if you guys were on my stream the other day. You saw what went down with some Polish pickles and 80 proof prune juice. Okay, so whatever it takes. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop fundraising. I'm not going to stop doing this. I'm in love with helping. It's a life commitment. After the war, when it does end, there's still going to be 700 years of cleaning up mines and people needing help. So this is a lifetime commitment. That's why I'm here.
Thank you so much, Renegade Chungus. Let's go with Nick from the In Time Show.
My name is Nick Suter. I am the host of In Time, one of several hosts of In Time. We're an educational program. We do news, we cover politics, culture, and try to give sort of a deeper insight into what's going on in the world around you. As to Ukraine, we were, we had covered everything from Obama and the catastrophe with how he sort of dealt with Syria, but also that, of course, Crimea was taken, and everyone was like, "Can Putin do that? Can get? I guess we're agreed. Putin can do that. Okay, great." And when the invasion began, the main invasion, 2022, we sort of sat and as a group said that, look, there's a lot of suffering that we cover in the world, and we're independent. We don't actually do fundraisers. I'll go and be on a fundraiser. I will support people if I can, but as a channel, we don't do fundraisers. We try to stay completely independent. But this was something where we said he's not going to stop at Ukraine, and it affects everybody. There's it is a world crisis. Russia is and I strongly believe Trump is the first president ever installed by a foreign power. So anyone who underestimates what Russia is willing to do, what they're capable of doing, does so at their own peril. And as a news channel, we have decided that Ukraine has to be one of the things that we most engage on and cover for those reasons.
Of course. Let's go with Brett, the Baba Yaga fella.
My name's Brett. I'm 46 years old. I don't have any YouTube channels. I'm a fan of most of you guys. I started with Mercado. I'm a fella. I just got on X to follow more, to get more news updates. I don't know anybody in Ukraine. I don't have any Ukrainian friends with family there. I've been following the war since the invasion, since the full scale invasion, and they just grabbed my heart, and it's, supporting them is the right thing to do. And I'm ex-military, ex-Air Force. And I used to be ignorant to politics, and now I'm full blown into it because I see what the power that the United States did have in the world powers, but we're quickly destroying that on the global scale right now. So just trying to do my part and support Ukraine. I was just started as a fellow fighting disinformation, misinformation, and pushing fundraisers on X. Then I've always hated Trump. I've been on to him for decades, since he took out that 3-page ad in the biggest newspapers, and when he came back from Russia, attacking NATO when he was a civilian, before he got into politics. So I just see where this is going, and I'm going to do everything in my power to fight it and not let it happen here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brett, and everything that you're doing to support. And let's go with the soy pill, special guest, last minute.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm the Soy Pill. I make progressive YouTube video essays. I stream occasionally. I've got a background in aerospace and nothing politics related. But yeah, no, I saw what was happening in Ukraine. It was pretty obviously a bad thing. And then I saw the Republicans lose their mind over it and start supporting Russia for some reason. And so I'm trying to push back against that the best way I can. I'm not an expert, but I think there's some pretty easy common sense arguments. And real quick, can't I can totally sympathize with your, wanting to be against them because they ruined your vacation. My great grandpa was once cock blocked by the Japanese. He took his girlfriend at the time out on a date and was going to bring her home when their parents weren't home, but lo and behold they were. And he said, "Why are you guys here?" And they said, "Well, did you see that Japan just attacked Pearl Harbor? We thought we had to come home to be safe." So it's a tale's old as time. Sometimes these little things cause you to fight. So
it took me a second too. I finally figured it out. It's can't I?
Yep,
oh,
it is can't
I? That's your story. You can't go.
Oh,
to
it just
Ukraine.
hit you now.
Can't I? Yeah, it just hit me now. Yeah, because
can't I? Watch me.
Yeah,
watch me work.
How many times has he told that story? And just now I figured out that's why he pronounces it. Well, there you go.
Exactly. Well, to the panel and everybody, this is why we're here today. Also in the background, we're pushing a truck fundraiser. This helps Ukrainian soldiers get to and from the front lines. They don't have all the equipment that the U.S. military has, like Kazovac vehicles, which means like medical ambulances, basically, that are up armored. Ukraine doesn't have a lot of those, if any, and a lot of units do not have the bare minimums. But we're trying to fundraise for an entire truck. It's 220,000 euro. All of our channels and everybody, we have our own responsibility. Ukraine Matters and myself are doing well. You got Renegade Chungus on there and Can't I, who are part of the panel today. We also got the Baba Yaga fella.
Whoa. I got credit when my audience donates. How do I do this?
You have credits?
How do I get my numbers up? I want to be number one.
You want to be on this? You want to get on this?
Yeah.
All right, I'll hook you up with Claire afterwards, after stream.
Afterwards, but on my stream,
Yep.
it's fine. I already donated myself. Oh, that's why you gave me the link, because I'm part of your numbers now. Okay, no, we're using his link. We're using his link. It's fine. I don't need to win. We'll just all donate through Kantai.
Everyone donate through
Kantai.
Kantai.
My family.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Listen,
thank
I'm
you to
so
everybody.
competitive. I'm not even going to tell you guys how competitive I am. I want to win. Okay.
they're trying to win this, which is cool. It's all going towards the one pot, so you can be as competitive as you want. You know what I mean? It's no one loses here. All right, only Ukraine wins, which is amazing. All right, one more thing I got to show you guys, and this was requested from Ivan, and then we're going to get into our topics. Okay, and this is like what the trucks are, and I think it's our last fundraiser we did with some of the YouTubers. So if we can just check this out.
Which whole live stream and recommended.
Can you guys hear this? Did you guys all hear that? Cool.
Слава Україні!
Amazing convoy today with 7 vehicles. A lot of foreigners have come to Lviv today to Car for Ukraine to bring some cars, to donate them, to bring the ones that we purchased. But as normally every week, another nice convoy is heading to the front line, and I'm gonna tell you a bit about each one of them because there is quite a lot. So let's go to the first one. Ukraine matters, life is the greatest value. With Georgie, 25 vehicles we managed to raise funds for, and today there are 3 that are coming.
He did that by
with
himself.
Ukraine matters.
It's
This
crazy.
one,
What with
number
his channel?
11, is going to the unmanned systems forces. The last one for them, and we'll be doing some very, very, very deep strike. And also everyone who donated to this campaign, you know, we created a donor wall, like a physical donor wall where people can find their name who contributed to this particular car. Next one, number 13, number 12, somewhere there, also from Georgie. This one is going to the 3rd Assault Brigade on the east in a very, very hot spot on the front line. Also, as you can see, armored on the back over here. So we keep our soldiers safe and sound. This one we didn't armor because a little bit more specific tasks. The BMW, you remember our story about a
That's
tank?
sick.
So this is the 7th vehicle from that squad. A gentleman in Czech Republic wanted to buy a tank, but he passed away, and his priest, his community didn't let him down. They kept some of the money and bought 7 vehicles, and 4 more actually will be coming to Ukraine later next month. Going to Dnipro region. Ford Ranger. This beautiful Simon and Ashley, they brought this car here a month ago. It's an amazing story. They brought this car a month ago here. We were going to send it to the front line, but they came again. And this time they brought a few more cars. And coincidentally, this one is ready. It had some issues on the side and everywhere, but what we've managed, we put some armor to the side, so guys also feel safe and sound when they yeah, looks safer. Yeah, with love from Wales. I guess Ashley is from Wales, right? Yeah, so this one will be going to Dnipro, Zaporizhia region, and the guys will head off today. Next one. Also, Ukraine Matters, Life is the Greatest Value campaign, number 12. Also, everyone who contributed is here. Massive thanks to Georgie and his community. This one is going to the east as well. Very special one, guys. Easter писанки. You know, the Easter hasn't come yet, but we cannot wait until Easter comes to bring cars to the front line. So the first one, it's a group.
Oh, they already
effort,
have our truck
our
ready.
shared victory.
This is our current fundraiser right now. I pause it. They already have one of our trucks there then already. This is the one we're doing right now. Pretty cool.
Amazing squad
Awesome.
of great informational warriors who are fighting for the truth everywhere in the world. And the first one for the Seraphims.
Я старший лейтенант Сергій Костинський, командир ударної роти Серафима. І я звертаюся до команди Car for Ukraine, Бандеромобіль, а також до партнерів від ком'юніті на YouTube, мережі X, в Інстаграмі, включаючи ATP Geopolitics, Eric Sikamimus, Word Translated, Pist.
So from 2012, very good, reliable, solid vehicle is going to the Seraphims so they can start implementing important things over there. Massive thanks to everyone who is supporting this campaign. It's ongoing, so you can join now. But we still have last but not least, Ukraine ADOPS, together with this wonderful group. They were going to raise funds for 3 cars. In fact, they managed to raise funds for 4 cars, and this one is going to the 24th.
Бажаю здоров'я. Ми друга мінометна батарея 1-го механізованого батальйону 24-ї окремої механізованої бригади.
Operating also in the hot spots on the front line, which is why we have to install additional armor everywhere on the front and the back. Also, as you can see on the grills. So if the shrapnel hits from the front, it's sort of fine. Yeah. So folks, it's really tough job to prepare all those convoys, to keep track of them, not to lose any car anywhere. Easter Pisunki is an ongoing campaign. Go to carforukraine.com, support this campaign, follow any of those great influencers, YouTubers. Together to our shared victory. Slava Ukraini, Heroes Slava.
So then they go to the front lines.
I also think it's worth noting that these trucks are worked on in Lviv. So not only are you getting a truck to the soldiers, you're giving Ukrainians a job. And
yeah, they're working in like a truck bay, basically.
Keeping the economy spinning over there too.
I have a quick question, and this is not to disincentivize anyone from donating, but in the same way, some plumber from America saw, like a ISIS, guy driving his like plumbing truck like 10 years after the fact. Is it possible that Russia maybe captures one of these and suddenly I'm on some YouTuber, hit list or something because they're like, they see my face or my full name on there and they're like, the soy pill is donated to our enemies, like.
They take the sticker off, so that's like a sticker they put on, and then when the soldiers actually get it and then go to the front, they pull the stickers off of that. It's just kind of like for the marketing of like the fundraiser, for the people that donated.
That flash that's not very camouflage for the
yeah. So they take all that off when the soldiers actually.
Well, I put my name in as Elon Musk just in case. So.
Yes.
I'm not a military expert either, but my understanding is that it's really hard to capture one of those vehicles from donkey back. So when you're riding a donkey trying to catch up with one of those, it presents technical problems that I'm not an expert in, but makes it unlikely that they're going to capture one.
You're not wrong.
Well, I've seen the videos. They stopped using the donkeys and they're using the little kid scooters now.
Oh, is it a tricycle?
Yeah, I saw that too.
With the Dukes of Hazzard one.
Before we get into it, one more. We had Rudy join us. So Rudy, go ahead and introduce yourself to the panel and your handle or your YouTube channel.
You're muted.
You're muted, buddy. All good.
Now is it on?
Stuff. There you go. Yeah. We hear you loud and clear.
All right. Yeah. No. My channel is Rudy's Reaction. Usually content on Ukraine and occasionally politics here in the U.S. That's probably cranking up a little bit more because of how much this country is turning into shit right now. So, but yeah, nice to meet all you guys and glad to be here.
Of course, Rudy. All right, so we're just gonna have some open-ended questions. You guys can answer whenever you're comfortable, and anyone that I don't feel is, if you're not able to answer, I'll make sure to specifically call on you so you can give your take. So why are you still supporting Ukraine today, right? We're over 2 years into the full-scale invasion. People are still showing up every day, still supporting in any way you can. We had an example like Soy Pill, who's seeing it from more of an analytic point of view, like this is the right thing to do. With others more, like Can't I, who was pulled away from a vacation, or like me, who I was literally streaming Madden and my YouTube channel was like, hey, Russia just invaded Ukraine. And I was like, okay, I better pause Madden and go see what's happening. And now here we are. What keeps you going, and why is it still important to you? All right, anyone, in any order?
Well, for me, it's, America's word used to mean something. We gave Ukraine our word twice that we would support and defend their borders with the Budapest memorandum. They gave up their nukes. Russia, UK, and the US all said we'll protect your and respect your borders and give you aid. We said we would. We should be doing what we say.
I agree. Anyone
Well,
else
if
have
our
anything to
government can't, I will.
add? Anyone else have anything to add?
Yeah, I'll go. I'm not.
We'll go Brett, and then we'll go Brett, then in time.
Sorry.
Very good.
Yeah, I just I feel like it'd be disrespectful to get tired when there's soldiers out there, doing the real work and putting their lives on the line for this. And they're not just fighting for their country. I feel like they're fighting for freedom and democracy worldwide, not just in Ukraine. So I feel like it's our fight too. But they're the ones that are putting their lives and their families, hearts and emotions on the line. And I'm not going to get tired of it. It's not like my mind's going to change just because a couple of years have gone by. Everybody was expecting this thing to end in 3 days or 2 weeks or whatever it was. And we're still here. And we're not going anywhere.
Nick?
It's never too late to do the right thing, and it doesn't matter how much time has passed, and it doesn't matter if you haven't started. It's never too late to start doing the right thing. And the United States, I think, has, for the most part, been a pretty decent force for good in the world up until recently. And we would not exist if it weren't for the French saying, they want to be independent, let's get involved. And because we had no naval power, the French used theirs to blockade and help keep British reinforcements from arriving. So without the French, and how many times did someone say that becoming our own country was a bad idea and we couldn't possibly make it, and here we are. I don't know what the future holds. I don't, and I'm worried about the future in Ukraine, the future here. I know one thing: if I stop, other people stop, and it ripples. If I keep going, maybe I can get a couple of other people going, and I don't need to get 1,000 other people going. Just every time I go on a stream, 1 or 2 more people going, and that's how these things are done.
Absolutely. Anyone have any other insight?
I mean, I can't see myself ever not supporting. This is the most clear-cut, black and white, good versus evil war that we've ever seen in our lifetimes. We probably will ever see in our lifetimes. I'm surprised that all the people that I grew up with, that all the MAGA cucks, are just completely ignoring the fact that this is the biggest land invasion in our lifetime since World War II. Like, we all grew up watching Red Dawn. It's like they forgot, right? And plus, I grew up in a Finnish household. I grew up hearing how the Russian mafia had already infiltrated our government from my grandma, and that was 30 years ago. So this has been going on for a long time. What happened? We took the Cold War. We said we won because the Berlin Wall came down. We took the pat on the back. We didn't do anything to support any democracy internationally in Russia or anywhere else. And we just turned a blind eye to it and said we won. But they didn't stop fighting. And now we have years, decades to catch up to figure out the amount of damage they've done to our country.
Absolutely. Nick, you have something?
No, yeah, well said. He's right. It was the pat on the back, and then we're just like, we won, we walked away, and that's why he nailed it.
Yeah.
So, Pill, what do you think?
Yeah. Wait, okay. My thing wasn't lighting up. Yeah, no, I mean, pretty much the same as what everyone else has said. I mean, this is very clearly like a dictatorship trying to invade a country that is, was promised that they wouldn't get invaded by said dictatorship. It's baffling to me watching the same people that, like you said, watched Red Dawn, were super anti-Russia through the Cold War, flip on a dime because of the MAGA cult. It's insane. It's disgusting. It's one of the most, clear-cut and dry, this shouldn't be happening. We should do everything in our power to stop it, is in our best interests thing that has happened in quite a while. And I agree with what Nick said too. If even 1 or 2 of the people watching my chat goes and donates, that'll be a win for me. And you know, I'm at least one of them. So guys, go and donate and try to help support a good cause.
Absolutely. What do you think, Rudy?
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, it's definitely the right thing to do. It was after seeing, you know, all the damage that Russia's doing, the lives they're destroying, kids are taking. It's a really easy decision for me. You know, it was a really easy decision for me to want to get involved in. I mean, it is absolutely the right thing to do. Ukraine needs all the help that they could get. They are fighting, you know, somebody a lot bigger, a bully. And, you know, like I said, my support for them will be to the end. So.
Oh, yeah. Brett, do you have any thoughts?
I think I already gave him my thought.
Oh, did you go? Did I? I'm sorry. You must have. Sorry. I already had a panel earlier, and now I'm trying to keep it all together. Oh, hello. Yeah, it's for me, it's just morally correct. I mean, I saw it with my own eyes. I wasn't there on the ground literally watching the Russians cross the border, but we were watching live feeds of it happen all over YouTube. Ukraine had the cameras up on the light poles or whatever, and we literally watching them enter. I wasn't watching it through mainstream media, or like a corporate media was not telling me what was happening in Ukraine. We were literally watching it. So very important to me. It's just wrong. And that's why what drives me. And plus just the misinformation too of the current events. I think it all kind of ties in together. Like I've covered many stories now, but I feel like a lot of the takes are pulled from similar strings that can connect sometimes. So let's talk about Cars for Ukraine and the fundraiser we're doing. A lot of you guys have been attached for this, and Soy Pills, thank you so much for pushing it onto your channel too. Let's talk about the mission we're backing tonight. They're not just raising money, they're delivering actual vehicles to units on the front lines, pickups, SUVs, 4x4s that are literally saving lives. What do you think this kind of support matters so much? Or like, what do you think, or even grassroots efforts, like of other things, even not just trucks, anything?
Well, I can tell a first-hand experience. The last truck that I fundraised for my friend on Rowan in the 151st, literally, like, it was like time was of the essence. He got the truck. They put an M2 Browning 50 cal mount on the back of it. They took it out to the front line. The next day, it was like a 232 drone strike. Like that made drones came into their area of operation, and they were doing counter drone defense. They were doing drone defense with this thing. Like it's a matter of life and death. The quicker these things get to the front line, the quicker they're used. They don't just sit there in the woods and not do anything. These guys are using them. They're saving lives with it, innocent lives. These drones aren't just like attacking soldiers. They're killing women and children. You can literally have an immediate impact to save someone's life if you get one of these trucks to the front line. So the quicker we do this, the better.
Agreed.
Yeah, just to chime in on why it's important for the grassroots thing is because, I mean, we've all seen what's gone on with military aid being held up by Congress for the 6-7 months, whatever it was, how many lives that costs, how much territory that costs. And while that was going on, I kept putting out, like, that's why private donations are important now more than ever, and especially now with Donald Trump in there. I mean, we've seen no aid's been moving since he's been there. No new aid has been coming. We've just got the presidential drawdown. And I've always said that if we need to win this with private donations, then so be it.
Anyone else have thoughts? Nick?
Winston Churchill won the Nobel Prize in Literature, which is something that most people don't know. He suffered from depression too. We wrote a lot about that. The Black Dog Institute in Australia is after a piece he wrote about the black dog, the depression, darkness in the corner that would come at him. So this was this hugely remarkable man, this orator who governed his country through World War II. And I truly think that the comparisons of Zelensky because you see Zelensky, who is just doing an incredible job with his own people, with the military, and with foreign countries. And when I watched him play Donald Trump, and he absolutely played Donald Trump, and I didn't think he could do it, because in order to play Donald Trump, you got to have a little darkness in you, because he's a bully, and he still came in with that, and he was massaging the ego. And I'm sitting there going, is there anything this man can't do? Yes, there's one thing that he has a problem with, and that's conveying the level of difficulty. He is so competent. You sit there and say, Ukraine's got everything they need. They've got Zelensky. So you look at Zelensky, and it gives you this false impression that military's always been there, that they're fully established and they've been ready since day one. No, every one of them out of the gate has been going like hell, and they have to keep going at that rate. So it's the donations that got them as far as it has, and it's donations from countries, and it's donations from individuals. And the number of people from other countries who go to fight in this war. It's like you don't have to. And I know you've met Viper. He can't go back to his country because he has now fought in a foreign war. He can't go home, and he said he's going to do it anyway. And the reality is, Ukraine cannot do this alone. They can't, and they've been honest about it. They've asked for that help, and that the importance of organizations like this cannot be overestimated, because Ukraine started with nothing. They started with nothing, and they have built what they've got, and they need to keep building, because Russia will not stop. One of those countries has to end. One of them is going to be. This is going to continue until one of them's done.
Let's hope it's Russia.
Let's go, can't I?
Just to add on to Nick's comments, there is, when this invasion started, Ukraine had a sitting army of 20 to 30,000 people. And they were trying to hold back what was already happening in Donetsk and in Crimea. One of the biggest complaints I see, or comments by the trolls, is, well, why doesn't Ukraine
guys be nice to each other, okay?
Ukraine has gone from 20 to 30,000 soldiers to 850,000 or so soldiers. You cannot expand like that and supply everything they need. There's going to be gaps, there's going to be holes, and if we can even plug one of them, maybe we're playing the little Dutch boy putting our finger in the dike, but get enough fingers.
And I'll point out, it's a little hard to run your economy when a foreign country comes in and takes Crimea and then says, okay, they've been defending themselves in one way or another for a very long time. There's a reason they can't afford it.
And I don't want anyone I don't want anyone to get it twisted out there that, like, after the full-scale invasion, they had to turn people away that were volunteering to come fight. So it's not like the people's heart weren't there. It definitely was.
Can I ask this is coming from an uninformed person. I'm assuming everyone here is, as in comparison, a Ukraine expert. If Andrew, can I ask a question?
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, my question is, because you mentioned, like, one of them has to win. Like, ideally, like, best case scenario for Ukraine, what does that look like? Because I'm assuming, obviously, it's not Ukraine completely, wiping Russia off the map or something crazy like that. Like, what is it? Russia declaring, oh crap, like, it's not worth it anymore, they pull out. Is it a settlement of the current borders, which I think would be a loss for Ukraine? Like, what is the best case scenario for Ukraine, realistically, given the support that they have?
Realistically, it's gonna, for me, and then anybody else can answer, it's gonna have to be increased support from Europe in terms of, like, troops on the ground. You asked for best case, so I'm giving you best case. So European support for troops on the ground in Ukraine, and then also NATO, guaranteed NATO ascension, which they have already promised, and they were supposed to be a part of it. But NATO is, and to me, is the only actual security guarantee that will give Ukraine, like, something. Okay, like, we'll agree to a ceasefire, not try to, and this is just my opinion, others might have others, not try to go and continue to liberate territory. We have to stop the defending. We'll stop defending ourselves, but only if they have real security guarantees. And for me, that is NATO membership. We've already tried everything. The charitable answer, I guess, or like the one L I'd have to take, if not NATO membership, has to be European troops then. Like, if not NATO, then European troops. And again, that's best case scenario for me. All right, panel, anyone else have a take?
Yeah, the complete economic collapse of Russia would really help if the people were absolutely feeling this, because they've had a honeypot to feed off this war. They haven't really felt it to the extent that they need to. And right now, under the current administration, the ruble has actually improved. They were on the verge of complete economic collapse, and now they're starting to recover. That whole thing needs to turn around. And unfortunately, we have an administration who loves dictatorships, loves Putin, and is completely head over heels in him. I don't know if he could suck him off any harder. And right now he's doing nothing but helping their economy and helping the people. Like, we were on track to destroy that nation economically, and we were like a year away, and now it's turning around. Like, I don't think they can do another year of this full-scale invasion without saying, guys, we need to eat, and things are going bad, and we need to stand up for ourselves.
Absolutely.
One of the most aggravating things with this Trump administration is the fact that they claim that they're a peace, they're all about peace and everything, but they are prolonging this conflict just by their actions and bringing Russia back into the fold with the world. You know, I mean, they are completely this administration is just completely hypocrites. Everything they claim to be about is the total opposite of what they actually are doing, you know.
Brett, you did, buddy.
Yes. I don't know if any of you guys watch or follow Constantine Inside Russia, but just because the ruble's going up does not mean their economy is not doing well, and it's still doing. What you got to pay attention to is the layoffs. Their wooden forest industry is terrible. The coal mining industry is terrible. Their manpower, their labor issues is in the toilet. So it's not just because the ruble is up. That's not actually a good sign. It's actually, according to him, it's a bad sign.
Of course. Johnny, JP, thank you for joining us. Quick intro, and then I actually want your and Nick's take, especially on Soypil's question here.
Yeah, I don't know that I can stay for long, but I was
That's
just
fine.
listening to this while I was firing up World of Tanks just for a bit of relaxation. I've been spending a million hours today on this, but I couldn't resist. So I was like, right, I've got to come in. So the economy is honestly, I think, really key. And what's really frustrating is that the US, the incoming administration could have, I think, put the final nails in the coffin of Russia with relative ease. And they, instead of, the foot was on the neck of the Russian economy and they took it off. They're talking about, relieving sanctions or doing that by not enforcing sanctions and not working with the working groups in Europe, and et cetera, et cetera. Just a few things to throw in, random things. I was literally writing a message to someone on this earlier. Sovereign wealth fund is being cleared out pretty much. Foreign reserves are almost gone. Gazprom is screwed. Construction industry is screwed due to mortgage and interest rates being screwed, leading to purchasing power being throttled in retail and restaurants. The car and truck industry is screwed, with truck sales down 46% year on year in February. Rate of insolvencies has gone and bankruptcies has gone through the roof. There's a huge labor shortage leading to inflation. As of yesterday, industrial enterprises are complaining of a shortage of working capital and are demanding preferential loans to avoid bankruptcies. The balance on treasury accounts has collapsed from 12 million rubles to trillion rubles to 5 trillion rubles in 3 months. The reason is the growth of military spending and a fall in income, leading to a budget deficit, etc., etc., etc. Russian bank head Nabiullina was complaining back in November, saying they might even have to freeze Russian personal bank accounts, etc., etc. So, if we could keep hammering the shadow fleet, it's about secondary sanctions. So the US Treasury has been incredibly important. Under Biden, they were doing this work that people just didn't sing the praises of enough, going around screwing the Russian economy. And you've had today another tankers in India that's not being able to set to moor in a port in India because of secondary sanctions. That's the important stuff, like stopping China and Russia doing business with China and India doing business with Russia and having the tankers sitting out there doing nothing and not gaining money. That's how Russia gets screwed, and then Europe has to pile in and help. And NATO is the cheapest way to like Andrew was saying, the cheapest way. Literally, if you want to save money on helping Ukraine, let them join NATO. That's it. It's that simple. It's not difficult either. We don't have to give anything or spend anything particularly. You just say you're in NATO now. We're changing the rules slightly. Bish bash bosh. No one has to spend anything. Now, if you do anything else, Russia will fuck you over, and etc. etc.
Nick,
sorry. They have Gallup.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brett.
They have galloping inflation right now, and it's heading towards hyperinflation.
Interesting. Nick?
Yeah. So,
what happened?
In the worst case, and why it's the worst case. Putin has made it clear repeatedly that Ukraine does not exist. There is no Ukraine. That land is all Russian. So his only acceptable goal is to take all of Ukraine and wipe it off the map. He has shown this. He has put up maps where you can see, oh, if you look here and read, it says Russia, not Ukraine. And it's always been this way. It's like out of 1984. It's like we've always been Eurasia. And so that's his goal. Unfortunately, that is also the goal of a number of the people closest to him that are most likely to replace him if he should fall out an open window. So, and some of them, their concerns are that he's been too kid gloves with this. He should be deploying chemical weapons or tactical nuclear weapons. And so if he just dies, that doesn't solve the problem necessarily. There are a few who might just say, okay, we're out, we're done. But most of the people most likely to replace him are going to want to wipe Ukraine off the map. So if that's in fact their goal, and they won't stop until they've done that, either Ukraine gets wiped out or Russia gets wiped out. The only effective way to NATO has a couple of problems right now. The U.S. is opposed to NATO membership, and we're one of 3 countries opposed to it. And they're an ally. This was even before Trump. So there are significant problems, not the least of which is there is contested territory, which people falsely say it's in the charter that they can't join. It's not in the charter that they can't join, but for the most, they can't join as long as there's contested territory. So until they win, they can't join NATO anyway. So the only way to do it is economically. This has actually been done before. Ronald Reagan, I do not like the guy, but he implemented the plan that took out the Soviet Union. This was done by inventing Star Wars, which was never going to work. But it caused them to overdevelop their intercontinental ballistic missiles to overcome a shield we didn't have and could never make. Afghanistan, we deliberately poured resources into Afghanistan, so they had to, because we figured out we could overproduce them and they would collapse. That's what happened in 1991 to 92. When they collapsed, all of these people, Ukraine, all these other break apart republics became their own independent states. And again, we patted ourselves on the back. Putin has openly declared that was the worst tragedy in the history of humankind, and he wants to rebuild the Soviet Union. This is the 3rd country he's attacked in 5 years. So this is part of a much larger plan. What has to happen is the same thing, and that we were doing it. We were this close. Jonathan got it absolutely correct, which is the idea is if we sanction the living daylights out of them, one of 2 things happen. Either their economy completely collapses. There's already in Russia sort of satellite districts and provinces that would like to become their own country anyway. So if they collapse again, Russia will still exist, but it'll become even smaller, even less powerful, just like the original collapse of the Soviet Union. That has been what we've been attempting to do. We got about this close to it, and then Trump is like, I'm lifting the sanctions. And it's like, do you understand how many people have died and how many people have worked on just trying to get, and again, one of the things is when you take a look at how much Russia spent in Afghanistan, they've spent 10 times more than that in Ukraine, and they didn't have a good economy in the first place. So either Russia will collapse, it'll kind of rebuild and there'll still be a Russia, but it'll be a new thing, or Ukraine will get wiped off. So that's it. There's only 2 outcomes to this, because Russia will not stop until Ukraine is done. So either we end Russia or Ukraine.
But so that leaves a 3rd outcome, which is so there are only 2, but there is actually an excluded middle there, which is actually this goes on with Russia trying to achieve the kind of complete wiping out of Ukraine, and Ukraine
like an attrition,
holding them off, and it's just like an endless attrition. And then maybe people get bored, maybe they don't, or whatever. But you can see that not endless, nothing lasts forever, but another 5 to 6, 3, I don't know how many years.
Prolonged longer than anyone would like to.
The reason we when they first invaded Crimea, we did not sanction Putin, but we sanctioned all the oligarchs. And the reason was because we wanted them to get pissed enough at him that one of them takes out a knife and stabs him. They're all assassins. They're all killers. They're all perfectly willing to do it. It didn't work. Okay, fine. We're still hoping that Putin gets replaced. If it turns into a war of attrition, does Ukraine last long enough that Putin gets off and gets replaced by someone who says, we could probably win if we kept going, but screw this. I want to make money, and I'm losing money so long as this war is continuing. And we're happy to make it about money for them. It's just leave Ukraine alone, just evacuate, leave, and we can help make you rich. But, so we're that's the deal we put on the table. Putin has said no. There are people below him who might say yes.
Interesting.
Hey, Merc, I got to jump in real quick. Someone in your chat just said if I do a pickle shot right now, they're going to donate $100. I'll be right back.
Nice.
Like a shot of pickle juice? Is that what that means?
I don't know what that means. We're going to find out soon, though. So thank you guys for answering Soy Pill's question. Any news or updates that stood out this week to you? All right, let's pivot. Has anything stood out to you in the news from Ukraine lately? Something serious, hopeful, or even meme-worthy? Anything?
Meme-worthy, I got something for you.
Sure.
We're sitting here fundraising for trucks and other fundraisers for generators and drones, and Russians are fundraising for body bags.
Is that real?
Yeah.
I did see something like that.
Brett, go ahead.
I have a question from my chat.
Sorry.
We'll
go Brett, then Soy Pill's question. We got you.
I just thought of when Zelensky's quote of Putin's going to die soon. It just made me think of it. I know he's got health issues, but it almost makes you think, like, do they have a plan in works or something? Does he have something in works? It just made me think about something like maybe Budanov's got some plan going or something.
Yeah, possibly. Soy Pill, what do you got?
Yeah, Albert Hunley in my chat asks, thank you for the $2. Are there any outside forces funding Russia? I mean, in the same way, like, I know they have resources from North Korea, I know Belarus, but like in the same way that we or other people fund Ukraine, where are they getting their help from?
Johnny Pierce?
The thing I'm quite upbeat about is lots of things. Military aid to Ukraine, I think, will be all right. Like, Europe's coming together. France is just given a load. There's going to be a new Ramstein. They're going to announce another bunch of stuff. But actually, there's a lot of investment going into the Ukrainian defense industry, and they've really ramped up their production. And also, they're producing more significant things, like, for example, their own kind of MRAPs and like mine-resistant ambush protection vehicles and infantry mobility vehicles and stuff like that. And their Bogdanas, their self-propelled howitzers, they're producing significantly more than 18 a month now. So I don't know what the exact number is, but they're looking to get to 40 a month. Now, that is way beyond replacement rates. And they're also making a towed version of that as well, which we've already seen on the front or seen evidence of. So this is all really good news for, like, in the absence of other nations or the US giving a load of stuff to Ukraine. Like, one of the key, and they've known this for a long time, is making sure that Ukraine can do this themselves, so that if people do pull out, like, all they need is then money, which is maybe easier than equipment. So I'm quite upbeat about where they're at, and we keep hearing stuff about missiles and drones, like long-range attack drones. The scale doesn't seem to be quite there. There are lots of claims about scale, but I'd like to see just massive attacks into Russia. But then you've got this energy infrastructure moratorium. So anyway, I'm quite upbeat about certain aspects of where Ukraine are militarily, and there's a couple of new weapons as well that have been touted in the last few days too.
So sorry, Jonathan. I don't know. Maybe you have insight, or maybe Nick does. But someone had asked in my chat, are there larger outside forces funding Russia? I know North Korea is part of that. By the way, all of that's very good to hear that Ukraine is getting the assistance it needs without us. By the way, because I have not been optimistic about America's outlook on this, as many of us said. But yeah, like who is helping Russia on this side, and can there anything be done about that sanction wise?
Well, so big question. So no one's funding them, I don't think. But North Korea helping. At one stage recently, it was thought that 50% of their artillery ammunition was North Korean. They've given 220 self-propelled howitzers and multiple launch rocket systems, and 12,000 troops with another 3,000 supposedly just given as well. So it's 15,000. That is really significant. I get really annoyed when people dismiss North Korean troops as just cannon fodder and it's easy for the Ukrainians to take out. No, all of those people will attrite Ukrainian soldiers and materiel, and they are a massive challenge. So I think the North Korean addition could be a game changer if Russia are able to draw on like 100,000 of them. But then we don't know what they're paying North Korea for, and there are all the theories, everything's been mentioned: space tech, plane tech, nuclear tech, energy, grain,
food,
everything. Yeah, all of the above and more. But they are helping. China is helping. So I don't know if you know that in the last month, I keep tabs every day. I give the general staff figures about what losses have taken place in the day before and what the stats are for interceptions on drones that come in. And the Russians have really upped the drone manufacturing of their Shahid drones. And they were getting relatively recently 90 to 95% interception rates, and sometimes 100% interception rates on virtually every day. And now that's dropped to maybe 80% interception rates. And every night at the moment, you're getting 20, 25 drones get through and potentially hit their target. Now that is really significant. If you have that every night, multiply that by 30, that's a massive, massive difference. And the reason is, well, so there are tactics involved. So they've done this swarm of individual places, which is what I suggested they do, but I wouldn't want to give them good ideas. About 1.5 years ago, I don't know why they spread their drones out. They each need to go for one place and absolutely overwhelm it. They're doing that, but they also have chips on their drones that are coming from China that allow them to focus on their and not get interfered with by electronic warfare. And so they're getting around Ukrainian electronic warfare. That is significant. So that help from China, and obviously the help from North Korea, is really significant. Iran slightly less so now. They're now building their own drones rather than getting them from Iran. And I think just the US doing dipshit stuff that helps and inadvertently. And that's really frustrating as well. So I think it is significant, but not crazy. I mean, the challenge for the Ukrainians is boots on the ground. They're getting, I think, maybe enough equipment, maybe enough ammunition. They just need lots more people, and Russia has a lot of that, but actually even they seem to be struggling big time. So the question is, how many reserves do Russia have, like kicking around some of these places, and can they amass them in certain areas? Sorry,
absolutely. No. That was a great answer. And I want to say, because Andrew, you asked about movable moments. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Like Trump said, like, they just told me that they're getting drones from Iran, and like as if which is 3 years old news or whatever. So that was great. But yeah, thank you so much for the answer.
Do you mind if I say something to that? Sorry, I know I've done a lot of talking, but
we'll do you, then Nick, and then Chungus. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's really important because, like, about 2 years ago, we're saying, like, one of the best things to be able to do would be to link, for the MAGA Republicans who were at the time, like, going slightly pro-Russian, we're saying if we link Russia to North Korea and to Iran, they can't but say Russia are the bad guys. Like, because no one thinks that North Korea are the good guys. No one in the GOP thinks that Iran are the good guys. So if you link Russia, then that's really cool. And that kind of worked a bit, but then whatever. And now you've got Trump saying that, like, as if he said the words were something like, yeah, we're looking into that, like, we're getting reports on that. So fucking hell, they've been using shades for 2 years, you dimwit. And what's frustrating is this shows, and I could give you a massive rant on how fundamentally ignorant Donald Trump is to any depth on any given subject in governance, right? Like, and I keep saying this, I said it 3 times today, give me a speech that Donald Trump has made in the last 10 years that gives you any indication, like a 2, 5, 10-minute speech, that he has granular knowledge and any great detail. He only ever talks in vague veneer, right? Honestly, it's so important. He does not understand enough about anything. And Ukraine is a great example, and that incident on the Shahid drones should make people go, oh, for fuck's sake, is this really where we're at? Like, sorry to swear, but like, honestly, are you serious, mate? Like, you don't know jack about what's going on. Rant over.
Jonathan, all I can say, Jonathan, is you're telling me this for the first time. I didn't know that.
Nick and then Chungus. We'll go Nick.
The two biggest financial backers and supporters of Russia are China and the European Union, which is unfortunately not well understood by a lot of people, and is something that Biden tried to deal with and had some success with. Why China? Well, what China has done is they're aware that there are exceptions, humanitarian exceptions to all of the sanctions for obvious reasons. China was already getting oil from Russia. What they have done, and they have sufficient oil as it is. Once the war got where it looked like, so about a year ago, I think it was, they tripled their oil requests from Russia. This is not because they need more oil. They're just storing the stuff or trying to resell it on the market. This is a way to launder money to Russia. So they are paying Russia for oil they do not need. This is the principal source. Russia is getting 210 roughly billion euros a year from China for that oil. Another 21 billion is coming from Europe, who is buying that oil under the exceptions for humanitarian aid. Germany, I think, is now off that list. But one of the problems was Germany gets really, really cold. And if they stopped buying that oil, you were going to have a lot of deaths due to the cold weather. So they have managed to, I think they restarted one of their nuclear power plants, and Europe is trying to get off of that oil. But right now they're on it. So Europe themselves, while trying to help Ukraine, is actually funding Russia. They do know it. Some countries have taken it more seriously than others, and Biden was working his tail off, get all of them to sit there and say, we will not buy any oil under any circumstances from Russia. But it does end up being a humanitarian problem. Russia saw this coming and started to change their economy into resources that we couldn't easily cut off for that reason, and it's been successful. So their two biggest economic supporters are China and the European Union.
Absolutely.
Which the US has a lot of say in. Well, they've got a horse in the race, because not oil, but gas. As Europe's trying to wean themselves off dependency on Russian gas, they've looked to the United States, who now the biggest exporter of liquefied natural gas, which means you don't have to put it in pipelines. You can put it on a ship, turn it into liquid form, and get it to Europe. But then you've got this bizarre situation where some of Trump's lackeys, some of his business mates, have gone over to Russia, and now they're trying to start up Nord Stream 2 pipeline again. And you're like, what are you doing? Like, if you start up Nord Stream 2 pipeline, then you're not going to need American liquefied natural gas. I don't understand why Trump is allowed, because obviously someone's going to make a lot of money out of it, but from the US point of view as a whole, that will actually hurt the US. So it's just, yeah, anyway, I thought I'd throw that in.
Absolutely. Chungus.
Yeah, in regards to Donald Trump not knowing about the Shahed drones, I call bullshit. I think he did know. I think he wants to bomb the shit out of Iran, and right now he has a fleet of B-2 Spirit bombers in the Indian Ocean with 3 C-17 cargo planes and at least 10 aerial refueling tankers ready to bomb the shit out of him. I think he's looking for a reason to do it. I think he wants to go into Iran. I think this is part of his whole game plan. He's already cut Soleimani on 2 on his freaking balcony. Why not? Or I think that was his name, Soleimani. I get that right? Yeah. So why not? I mean, he already knows, half of MAGA can't stand, all of MAGA can't stand Iran. Half of the independents can't stand Iran. This would be the perfect time for him to exploit it and go in and take over. This is a pickle shot. I had to cut it in 2 because that Polish pickle has been in movies. That is like picklehub.com. So this is a pickle shot. And this is totally not 80 proof Cornitos. And I'm totally not just gonna.
Oh, the pickle too, huh? Nice, incredible.
For Ukraine, we'll do anything.
Absolutely.
For the 104th.
Yeah, I ate surströmming for Ukraine.
That was $100. Anybody wants to see it again?
$100. $100 to the fundraiser. You promised them. You promised.
No more, please.
Chungus won't be on the stream for very long.
Yeah, he'll be.
I'm a bit of a statist, so I'm watching him and I'm watching his face, and I'm like, I really think Ukraine needs the help, folks. That's all I'm saying.
I hope there's a bullet casing with someone's etched in pickle shot on it. Like they paid for that specific bullet casing.
Literally. On Chungus's comments on Iran, I would think, like, I come from Republican world too, obviously, and Republicans have wanted to bomb the shit out of Iran like since its existence. Like, I can remember that as a kid. Like, they're, please God, before I die, just let me bomb Iran. And
what's
like
the John McCain song? He's always bomb Iran.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't know that because I kind of agree. I like the idea of what Renegade is saying there, but because he said this about 4 times in the last few days, where he's had a difficult question, and the signal gate was a great one. Like, you can guarantee that his chief of staff would have been in the Oval Office as soon as signal gate was on the radar, right? And yet he was at a presser, and they said to him, "Do you know blah 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 blah?" And he's like, "I've not heard that before." And he did that with the 4 American soldiers in Lithuania. He did dying, and then he did it on 4 occasions in the last few days where he has not known something that he clearly should have known. Now, I think those ones were lies, which is like, it's a difficult question, and it's a way of sort of deflecting and not being able to deal with the issues so robustly. But with the Shahed one, that doesn't quite make sense. So I genuinely just think imagine you're Donald Trump and you're playing golf and you're doing this and you're spending all your time campaigning on X, Y, and Z. Like, would you actually know that that Russia are actually using Iranian drones? Like, I can imagine that would be it's obvious to us. We spend 12 hours a day in this war, right? Donald Trump doesn't, right? And he doesn't read. So he doesn't read. He doesn't get intelligence briefings, or doesn't read or
they're in crayon, but yes.
Yeah, with pictures. Got some pictures.
But think of the practicality. So therefore, where would he pick up the information that Russia are using Iranian drones? And yeah, he could have done watching Fox News, but I can imagine a situation where it really hasn't factored in.
I can agree with both of you. I will say this. The one thing in Jonathan's favor is, when was the last time Trump needed an excuse to threaten to bomb, Greenland or Canada? So if it's Iran, he doesn't. But I actually do. I think Chungus, that's a really good observation. Because
All right, let's go. Brett Baba Yaga has a thought.
Yeah, I posted about when that clip came out that he didn't know, and he's like, you have to look at the reports on it. I posted that. I'm like, little old me that has known that there's 3 years worth of reporting this, and I know that there's Texas Instruments components in the fucking Shaheeds. So he just looks
meme sheep. What the fuck?
I don't know if he knows how incredibly stupid he looks, but you would think that that'd be something kind of important to a narcissist.
Very true. Rudy or Kantai, do you guys have thoughts?
Go for it, Kenny.
I don't know. Maybe he's suffering from short-term memory loss.
I'm sorry, what was that?
It's charitable.
All right. Well, let me throw in another scenario there. I'll throw in another one. What if he asks somebody for a reason to bomb Iran? What do we have in Iran? Why do we want to attack them? Give me reasons to go in. And they said, well, they're making Shahed drones for the Russians that are bombing Ukraine. I mean, what if he needed a reason and someone briefed him on it recently that knows, one of his cabinet members, one of his special envoys that he barely listens to? I mean, it could have been something simple as that.
That sounds really plausible. That actually he didn't know, and then someone's just told him, well, because we know that 7 stealth bombers have found their way to Diego Garcia Islands, haven't they? So it looks like, and they're not going to be doing freaking training missions.
That's
not happening. So I think, and then Iran weirdly released that video. I don't know if you've seen it, but Iran released a video of these underground tunnels with all their bombs and all their missiles in, all this kit, and they're driving through these like proper underground, James Bond type stuff. Fascinating video. Why would they release that just now? Weird.
Very
I think they're
interesting.
expecting it.
And there's two carrier strike groups in the Mideast now.
Very interesting to keep up on. That's been one of the things I've tried to pull some of my more MAGA viewers in, is like, Iran is, I've been a participant in this war. Like, you hate Iran, I get it, but like, then you should probably help Ukraine because they're fighting the Iranian, or a lot of people that support Israel, right? We had our jets in the sky over Jordan fighting Iranian drones. There's no way these Republicans have no idea about the Iranian drones, right? Because we literally were shooting them down with the United Kingdom. Well, was it last year or 2 years? It was last year.
Last year.
Yeah, it was last year. So the Iranian Shahed drones is I think they're just playing games, and like Chungus said, it's like they're going to use it as a pretext to start war on Iran. Like, oh, guess what? And then that might whip a lot of people into supporting the attack on Iran, because then they'll say, well, this will weaken Russia's efforts with drones. But then I don't know why Trump and the administration never addressed Russia as a direct problem. We did hear it in the Intelligence Committee briefing, the testimony in the House and the Senate. Tulsi Gabbard and the CIA director and FBI director Kash Patel all said that Russia is a threat. That is a global threat. They all had to come out and say it. We watched the whole thing on stream. But they'll say that in the actual testimony, but then they'll go on media or wherever else and just not even include Russia into the conversation. It's just China bad, and Iran, we got to go to war with them. I don't understand.
But even with China bad, like Trump's then saying, "Oh, I might relieve sanctions on China if we get a nice TikTok deal," which would be Elon Musk coming along and sweeping that bad boy up, or a similar kind of. It's just.
Well, I want to touch on that though, like what Jonathan brought up. I guess what everyone's brought up, Andrew. But like one of my big channel things, if you guys don't know me, is I try to like reach out to Trump supporters and be like, "Hey, like here's my reasonable take, and I'm trying not to be crazy about this, but shouldn't this piss you off?" And I think that, like, I have yet to hear like the Democrats really hammering in this Iran angle on this, and I think the anti-Ukraine sentiment from Trump could absolutely be countered by the hate boner that Republicans already have for Iran. If we show, hey, look, you think Iran's bad, well, they're funding these terrorist groups, right? You hate that. Don't you hate that they are funding the enemies of Ukraine? They're funding Russia. Shouldn't that tell you who is the good guy in this situation? Exactly. I don't know. I mean, obviously they're going to come.
That's what I was saying earlier. Yeah,
no, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying I'm curious, like how we can leverage that factoid, because I always knew that Iran was helping them. I knew North Korea. I knew that China was helping them. But knowing that this, like, I don't want to say like axis of evil, but like this coalition of countries that Republicans do not like is clearly working against American interests, how they can somehow want to support that in some way. I think that can be leveraged rhetorically in some way, shape, or form. And just real quick,
it's a really good
exactly.
It's a really good pitch against isolationists as well. When you say, hey, there's already states out there that want to destroy us. Now you want to take everybody home. The match has already been struck, buddy. Sorry.
Exactly. I wonder whether, so the difference, so flipping that, like, why is it they then support Russia and don't support these others? And there's been a lot of ink spilt on the idea that very conservative Republicans, like Christian nationalist Republicans, they look to Putin and see him as some kind of traditional values guy. I mean, even though the reality on the ground is that the church attendance in Russia is actually really, really low. But Putin sold himself, because he knows that, because he's a clever guy, and he sold Russia on being this place that stands up for traditional Christian values. And you get that's really found fertile ground with the GOP, certain elements of the MAGA GOP, that then actually look at Russia and say, I want my country to be more like that than I do to be more like the degenerate Europeans or the degenerate Democrats.
Yeah, and you have the pundits as well, Jonathan, like Tucker Carlson going to a Russian supermarket, and he's like, wow, they've got shop. A lot of people don't believe they've got shopping carts, and they have shopping carts and bread. I didn't know they had bread, and people don't know this. And somehow this is like this pro-Ukraine Russian message of look how cool and amazing their country is. You get your average boomer, Facebook mom sees that, it's like, oh, I guess Russia's great. So it's pretty bad. Yeah, I'm 99% certain these people are being funded by Russia. That Tenet Media thing is just a drop in the bucket of the dissemination of Russian propaganda. So God knows if Tulsi Gabbard Gabbard, who is a RT contributor, is pro-Russia, and I'm actually curious, Nick, to hear your your best case elevator pitch for like whether or not Trump is literally a Russian asset. Obviously, he's working in their interests, but I'm curious to your knowledge, like if you had to pitch this to your average Trump supporter, how do you know he's controlled by him? Like, or what is your best evidence of that? Because like obviously I suspect it, but like you seem to be very sure.
I don't usually talk about it. The reason I don't usually talk about it is because it makes it too easy for me and everyone else that agrees with me to be tossed into the conspiracy theorist. But I'm sitting there going, if you look at it, it's not that hard. First of all, if you understand how the Soviet ideology works, they get blackmail on everybody. They get blackmail on their own citizens. When they build buildings, they put cameras and it is literally why, I mean, the book 1984 was written to tell you how Stalin operated, and then that all of that is exactly what and when you have a foreigner who comes in, they put him in a bugged hotel room, they record everything. 9 times out of 10 doesn't really result in much. They don't care. They're aware of that. They're waiting for the one that they can get compromat on, that they can compromise, they can blackmail later. First thing with Trump is that he was in Russia for an extended period trying to do a business deal, which, by the way, got pulled until he became president and then got reinstated. But that notwithstanding, the Steele report made a lot of allegations because there was the PP tape and everything else. People are like, it sounds kind of, I'll be honest, there's some verisimilitude to that, because people with a lot of money get bored. They do crazy things. They go on yachts. I mean, I'm like, I don't know if it's true or not, but we've already confirmed enough elements of the Steele report. And the guy was former MI6. So he had the credentials to write this, and he had to know how crazy it must have sounded. He didn't want to write that. So he wrote it because he felt it could be backed. So first of all, I believe, yes, they have compromat on him. The second problem is that he went bankrupt, and he had this party where he was like, I'm going to come out like Rocky, and he was wearing the Rocky trunks, and he comes out and he's all this other stuff. But he had declared bankruptcy on his Atlantic City casino and the hotel, I forget where that was. He, by this point, had 4 bankruptcies under his belt, and no bank in the United States would touch him, because once you declare bankruptcy, the bank is going to get maybe 30 cents on the dollar back. So nobody was going to give him loans. Everything he does is by leverage. So if you can't get loans, you're done. So he was in debt, couldn't get loans, and then all of a sudden, Deutsche Bank started loaning him money. The first loan was for $700 million, but they wouldn't do it without a backer. Who was the backer? Bank of Moscow. Who is the chairman of the Bank of Moscow? Vladimir Putin. And and then
plausible, huh?
I'm drawing the Glenn Beck like strings in my head right now, but you know, it does make sense. Like it's making a lot of sense. Yeah.
In 2008, he also had a mansion that was, I don't know if you were going to say this, but he had a mansion that he sold for 2.32 times the value of what it was. So he ends up pocketing 90 million, and who bought that? A Russian oligarch. So that's a way of a Russian oligarch getting money to him kind of legally, but you're paying well over the odds for a piece of property.
He does not see. He is not a Russian agent in the sense that he is not officially on any payroll. He is not officially a spy. And we just recently had that they actually have a code name for him, which doesn't surprise me, because this is one of their techniques. Thank you. That was it. So my belief is that they have succeeded. And I think, by the way, the fact that they succeeded in blackmailing him actually endears him to them more. And the reason is because, as a narcissist, it's sort of like, well, wow, if they can kind of maneuver me like this, these are the guys I want to hang with.
Interesting.
So okay. I think even as a narcissist, this is why he's so fond of Putin, and so he will pretend to go against their interests. He'll pretend to be open-minded, but I think ultimately he likes them. I think ultimately he likes the way they think. I think he thinks the same way. He's a bully too. So is Putin. And I think that there is enough both blackmail and just monetary incentive that he is all but an agent for. He's not maybe in writing. He was installed by, and he doesn't know it consciously. He's just like, I like them because who wouldn't? Because they're powerful.
I do.
Yeah, he is their agent. He will
He's
do as he's told.
psychologically aligned enough
Yeah.
that it
Thank
makes him a useful idiot to be easily manipulatable. So I think he's both an asset, potentially an agent, like you say, an agent in a way that he is, somewhat
I forget
compromised.
what they call it, like a passive agent, but there's a name
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
Like manufactured consent,
agency.
maybe. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
what you're looking for.
Yeah, and reflexive control. So that he's a person that can easily be manipulated to do exactly what they want him to do, but then he feels like he's the one with agency and he's doing it freely. But actually, they've contrived the situation and predicted what he would do, etc., etc. So there's a lot of reflexive control. There's a lot of alignment. He wants to be Putin. He wants to be a strong man. He was most proud of being on The Apprentice more than he was proud of being the president. So he just wants to be able to fire people. In fact, didn't we hear today that he said there was a piece saying there's a rumor that he really liked the way that Vladimir Putin can just have anyone killed he wants. So this is another element, like the Trump is just wants to be that kind of person, and that means he's very susceptible.
Nick,
let's go. Well, I got you.
Really
Let's go with. Okay, you go, Nick, and then we got to go to Chungus.
Can Nick give us the nickname, the code name? You mentioned you didn't give us the code name. Krasnov. Oh, I thought it would be like golden toilet.
Stands for orange in Russian. Stands for orange.
Somebody put into Gronk, they said, what is the likelihood that this president is a foreign agent? And they did it for the last 5 presidents. Every president came in with Gronk, the AI came in at less than 1% chance that they were a foreign agent. When it got to Trump, 85% chance when they plugged it into it's an AI. It's a new.
I trust Elon's AI. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Let's go with Chungus. He's been had his hand up.
Oh God, I almost forgot my thought. I think one thing we didn't cover on this whole thing was let's talk about his first wife, Ivana Trump. She was from Czechoslovakia, and she had ties to the intel agency there. And a common practice back then was to honeypot rich Westerners to get them to do what they want. And she is the one that set up the arrangements for him to go to Moscow. He's compromised from day one. What they had on him, what the USSR ever had on him, I don't know. Who knows what it was? You can use your imagination. It's probably terrible. Probably makes Epstein look like a freaking pastor in the Catholic Church.
I was gonna say the public stuff's pretty bad. Like,
but yeah. Anyways, so whatever has already been done, it's been transferred over to Russian Federation. This has been a long time in the making, and like you guys said, every time he flew to Moscow, he came back, his business magically did well. You don't just bankrupt 6 casinos because you haven't learned your lesson. You're doing it because you're laundering money. I mean, that's the easiest way. I know that. I live in Northern California. I know that. I know if you want to bring drugs from a different country, you bring them to a casino and you get them in that way. That's how you get them cleared out.
I interviewed Zarina Zabriskie, who has done an awful lot of research into this, among others, like Craig Unger and whatnot. I interviewed her, and if you just a bit of a plug here, but if you want to get a whole account from 1977 to the present day of all the connections, the timeline of all the things that connected, like for example, 1987 when he went to Moscow, which is what Chungus was referring to, he goes to Moscow, he comes back and he spends $130,000 taking out full-page adverts slagging off NATO. Why would a real estate mogul do that? Like, you give me an explanation why someone who's never shown any interest in foreign policy goes to Moscow, comes back and takes out full-page ads slagging off NATO. Like, it's just... So yeah, there are lots of things, and like his first wife coming from Czechoslovakia, and the STB, their secret service, very much under the KGB, was, in fact, there's freedom of information, so they know that her family was monitored, and Trump would have been monitored, as you would completely expect.
Guys, every time this British guy says Chungus, I lose it. It sounds so beautiful
for monitoring. So yeah, you can put it all together, and it certainly looks pretty plausible.
Absolutely. Rudy, do you have any thoughts on this?
No, not really. Just I mean, there's so many reasons as to why Trump is at the very least an asset of Russia, if not an actual agent. I mean, he's absolutely compromised, and I mean, it's just still so hard to accept, man. The fact that he made it back to the White House, and he's just, he's been there 60 days, and he's done so much damage already. So I mean, it's just scary, just to think of what the next 4 year has.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, let's I want to get everybody's take on the Signal group chat. We had Johnny Pierce kind of bring that up a little bit, but that's the big thing. Let's go ahead and get your guys' take in any order. Anyone that has a take on it. Signal group chat, Houthi text.
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead, Rudy. Go ahead, Rudy.
Okay. No, just I mean, I've been having conversations with these people on, on TikTok and stuff. I may usually make videos on there at night, and there's still a bunch of people that are claiming, the fact that it's not classified information. I've been meaning to have a conversation with my uncle. He's a retired captain in the Air Force, and just to hear it from somebody's mouth would just reassure what we already know, and that's the fact that they did absolutely, undoubtedly, leaked classified information. So they need to be held accountable, and it's just they're just I don't know.
It's so obvious. It's so obvious. That's the frustration.
Yeah.
Like, that if this had happened with the Democrats, Fox News would have imploded.
Literally.
A black hole.
Yeah. They'd be talking about it for 10 years, like Hillary's emails.
Launch times before the mission goes off, the launch times and what type of aircraft and the weapons being used.
It will definitely be fired at this time right now for sure.
I wouldn't be going to my girlfriend's house. I'd be going into a bunker. So thank God they didn't accidentally add Houthi war general into the group chat.
Literally.
There's a lady that posted that was calling her senator that her husband's life was put at risk because of this, and she's like livid. She's pissed.
Was she
her life's work to follow this man to every fucking town hall or anything to make him lose his fucking job?
And yet you've got Jesse Waters going, everyone's phoned them.
Everyone's texted the wrong person
accidentally, haven't they?
Who hasn't let the air out of the tires of their interns so they can offer them a ride home and marry them? Who hasn't done that?
Hearing Mike Walls, the director, our national security director, say how the guy's name got into his phone. Well, maybe it got zapped into there or something. What the fuck are you talking about?
We have Elon. We have the best tech men looking into this. What is happening? Well, also, I don't know if you guys saw his public Venmo leak, and he has all the contacts of all these journalists, and it's like clearly, like at any moment he could have typed the wrong letter, hit enter, and suddenly some journalist, maybe a Russia Today journalist, now has this. It's insane, and he's the director of national security advisor. Like, this is insane.
I know.
Yeah, that's the question. Why is he
go ahead, Nick, and then we'll go JP. Nick, JP.
Well, yeah, that's the question. Why does he have the journalists? Which means that he's not loyal. There's something going. He had that name for a reason, but he didn't do that deliberately. I'll say that. And it doesn't matter whether it was classified or not. The Espionage Act does not require that it was classified. Only that it was information that should not have been released to the public. Period. End of discussion. They violated the Espionage Act. They've already done it. There is no negotiating on it. For me, I am delighted because anytime I get upset at the state of our world today, I just watch the testimony again, fall out of my chair laughing, and I just feel so good. This has been a blessing from God. Thank you. I am so delighted. It's just hilarious.
Nick, I have a question though. Doesn't the Espionage Act require intent? Because I know they broke the U.S. Code, was it 793 Section F, like negligent handling of classified information. But does the Espionage Act, isn't that more of like a what's his name, Michael Flynn sort of thing, like undisclosed agent? Don't they have to have intent there?
There's two sections of the Espionage Act. For the second, if I recall correctly, for the second one, they do not have to have intent so long as I think it's like a reasonable person would have thought that it was. Legal does a great breakdown of. So I'm going to admit I'm getting my legal analysis from him, and if I recall what he had said was it's still a violation of the Espionage Act because you bring up a good point. So for the first. For the first, just the major part of it, because they didn't know he was in there, you can't get him because there's no mens rea. Mm-hmm. But the mens rea requirement for the another part of the Espionage Act is not necessary so long as, and I forget what example he gave, something like, if you're in a dining room and you're just talking about open secrets, well, yeah, you didn't mean for the guy next to you to hear you, but any reasonable person would have known. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's go, JP, and then Brett has a statement after.
I find it stunning, like that this happened. It's like, you know, you go to Jeffrey Dahmer and you say, "Look, Jeffrey, like you've done some. Lots of people are saying you've done some freaking terrible things, mate. So what we're going to do, we've had a word with all of us police department. We've had a word, right? And what we want, Jeffrey, is we want you to do the investigation into whether you've committed all these murders, right? So, do you mind just going away? We can pay you to do that. Just go away and just come back to us with a report into whether you actually, you know, killed and ate all these people, whatever." Right? And so Jeffrey Dahmer goes away and so comes back like, "Yeah, I'm innocent." Okay, fair enough. So Mike Walls, like, is the guy that's been tasked with it with doing the investigation into checks notes. Mike Walls. So you're like, what is like?
Right, exactly. Brett, and then Renegade.
Did you guys also hear that Jack Kent was on this too? He's a nominee. He's not even been vetted already yet. He was all that was also discovered. I don't know how anybody's talking about that as well. And he's like a radical dude that he's nominated. Trump's got him nominated for director and something terrorism in country.
Does that mean he doesn't have clearance yet? Like
yeah, correct. Because he hasn't been approved by the Senate yet. He's not a member of the cabinet. He's a civilian. He's not even a journalist.
Yeah, exactly. Chungus.
The fact that we even have to have a conversation about this, that we know it's so clear cut what happened. The fact that we even have to have a discussion of what happened makes me sick to my stomach more than this pickle shot I'm about to take on the house.
Let's go.
House.
Cheers. God bless America. It was a good run. I miss you, America.
It was a good run.
What a gentleman.
I want to pickling his liver. I just had the thought in the background that, you know, the Republicans have a new theme song. You know, Shaggy. It wasn't me.
Well, I was going to say, I was on a panel about this yesterday, and surprisingly, and thank God, there was every single right winger was like, yeah, this is indefensible and stupid. Like, even the most diehard Trump loyalists were like, I can't defend this. And that speaks to how obvious it is. Because, you know, they say, hey, he could go out and shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and everyone would support him. And that's probably true. But at the very least, like, if you are so stupid, like, they will, there's a limit. They had a line, you know, like, so I'm happy they at least acknowledged it.
YouGov poll on March 25th, 6,000 adults. 60% of Republicans think the Trump administration's military leak is a very or somewhat serious problem. So to 89% of Democrats and 72% of independents. So I mean, that's a massive majority even for Republicans.
The other 42% of Republicans said, "Я не знаю что."
As we're talking. No, go ahead. Go ahead, Brett.
Sorry. One thing that I heard too, that somebody brought up a valid point, like just to think if this was like a black 2-star general or something that did this, like, can you imagine
anybody
be arrested and freaking hung probably already?
Yeah, or anyone. Like when I served in the military, the amount of sensitive material we had to handle, I had a secret security clearance because we had to transport ammunition to places that obviously is the public can't know. It's not a publicly known thing, like anti-air systems and whatnot. Like that's secret. Like you can't. That's not publicly known. Where army bases are, you know, anti-air positions are not. So I know we couldn't even plug in our phones into the truck computer system because in every truck, the passenger has a computer and it's like Arma, right? It is literally Arma where you're on there, like you can see where everybody is. You can communicate to the other trucks and send messages to them and communicate to the hire. Well, there's USB ports on that thing and soldiers plug their phone into it just to charge it. And that's a breach of our secret security clearance and also just handling of sensitive material. And they got demoted and then were kicked out of the military for doing that. Yeah. Simple thing, but that's the standard, you know, and that's the standard that we have in like the military. And that's why it bothered me so much because how absolute unprofessional, absolutely just there's no excuse.
Well, Andrew.
We'll go Johnny Peace and then Swipe Bill.
Okay.
Johnny JP.
I'll tell you how you do it is you just do it so freaking obviously. Like I'll tell you how you do it. You get 5 Teslas and you just line them up in front of the White House and then you go out and you give a sales pitch for Tesla in front of all the cameras and you get in a Tesla with Elon Musk and then you sell the Tesla to the general public and say everyone should go out and buy a Tesla, and then you get all your surrogates to go on TV and say everyone should buy a Tesla. Meanwhile, someone that works for the freaking parks and rec or whatever can't suggest a restaurant that someone can go to in case they get sacked, right? So that's what you do. You just do it so freaking obviously that everyone's like,
must be
it's
normal.
too obvious. It must be all right.
Exactly.
I was going to say, I have to push back.
Tesla.
Someone in my chat pushed back on that. This is really true. Have you considered that, as Fox News said, this is the most transparent administration we've ever had?
Oh boy, I didn't consider that. I didn't factor that.
Transparently corrupt. Yeah. Brilliant.
8%.
Hey, you know what?
8%.
I'm gonna name my new pickle shot the Hegseth.
Yeah, I mean, what do you say, right? How much?
It's just pickled in like loads of alcohol.
What was the exact number in money they had to pay for lying? 700 billion or 600 some billion for lying about the election.
About the voting machine.
Yeah, Fox News. Yeah, Fox
788 million.
750 billion or some shit.
That's it. That's all I got to say to that. Honestly,
I think your chat's got a point, though. I mean, Donald is like, we're gonna hit Iran. Vlad, do these plans look good to you? What would you do?
If I so could, to the panel before we continue with our next topic, our fundraiser for Cars for Ukraine, our Easter fundraiser, Mercado Media. We're getting to the end of it, but we also have Canti and Renegade Chungus, Brett Baba Yaga Fella, Rudy is with us, Johnny Pierce has a fundraiser, and Nick and Soypill are graciously also sharing this out to their platforms and joining with us in this panel. So thank you to everybody for doing so.
I've only just started mine, so I was doing NAFO up until pretty much yesterday. So
and you got some numbers now. So the overall goal is 220,000 euro. We're at 44,591 overall. So I do appreciate everybody's efforts onto this fundraiser here. And there's everybody's. We got Doug, Bradley, Levi, Jennifer, Steve, Stefan, Edward, Alan, and Andrew for donations today to the Mercado Media fundraiser. But all this goes towards the big pot, you guys. And as soon as we get to the 11,000, I'll start pushing out Chungus and Canti and JP and Rudy and Brett's fundraisers. So thank you to everybody for contributing to those. Oops, let me cancel this. Thank you everybody for contributing to that. Cool. All right.
Albert,
next,
can you elaborate in the chat?
Andrew,
thank you very much for the $5.
Now because it's like 1 o'clock.
No problem.
Wait, Jonathan, could I get one thing from you before you go?
Yeah.
Because you've been saying Chungus a lot in a really nice accent, and it's very surreal hearing an American meme in a really beautiful accent. Can you say skibbity toilet for my chat?
I can say skibbity Rizzler.
Oh, yes!
That's what my kids say, and I just walk around the house saying this.
I'm going to jump off my deck now.
Thank you so much.
I'm on the 5th floor.
Hell yeah, thank you.
Thank you, JP. Thanks, JP. Incredible.
Thank you, guys. I'm gonna
How can they follow you? How can they follow you? Yeah, how can they follow you? How can they subscribe to you?
Just stalk me and walk just about 10 meters behind, but just wear a trilby or something. No, ATP Geopolitics. Find me on Blue Sky, Twitter, and YouTube. Yeah, that's the main one. I do like 8,000 videos a day. And so if you've got a time machine or just really very bored, come and hang out.
I could listen to you forever.
Perfect.
Your accent's amazing.
Thanks, Johnny. Good to see you.
Thanks, Johnny.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. You take care. Big love.
On the next one. All right. That's JP from ATP Geopolitics with us. All right. We just go around, whatever you guys want to send. What message would you send to Ukrainians right now? If you could say one thing directly to the Ukrainian people, soldiers, families, volunteers, what would that be? Anyone?
I would say
for our government.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll go soy pill, Canty.
Yeah, pretty much what Canty was saying is like, hey, look, like, I'm sorry what our government's doing. A lot of us don't support this. Like, what's happening to you is awful, and we're going to do everything we can to, keep fighting for you. So, keep at it. I know there's like all sorts of little things like this. This grassroots stuff's amazing. There's this like Ukrainian bakery that makes it's like baklava or something at my local game shop, and I go buy those. Like, just do it. We want to do what we can, and that's a message to everyone. But yeah, like we're trying, and we're sorry.
Absolutely. Anyone else? Or can't did you have more than that? Or is that it?
It's basically what I said. Sorry for Trump.
Yeah. Any other thoughts? Any messages to the Ukrainian people? Anything you would like to say to them?
This last rally I went to in Sacramento at the Capitol building, I didn't say much. Usually I'll go there, I'll get some content and whatever. I was there to support like 100%. What do you need us to do? What do you need me to do? Corral all the Americans? Okay, I can herd cats. Like, the time for talking at this point for Americans is over. We need to show action. We need to show that we support. They need to know that there's people out there that absolutely bleed blue and yellow for the sake of the world, not just for the sake of their country, for the sake of the better of the entire world. It's time for us as Americans to go there and show them what we're doing, not just tell them or say things. Words are so cheap now. Like, they can hear Americans talk all day and say, oh yeah, well, I promise you for the rest of my life, I'll dedicate my life. Well, what the fuck are you doing? You know, we need to get out there and show them what we're doing. And if that means not creating content, if that means like corralling freaking Americans at the rally or getting more people there, let me tell you, I was there a couple days ago at Sacramento, right? And there was twice the amount of Americans as ever before because they were so pissed off at the Oval Office incident. Now is the time for us to expand. We need to find a way to gather more people who feel the same way. There's people out there fighting this every day. They don't know where to go. Like, this is an information battle. A lot of us are being silenced on all of our platforms because of what we believe in. We need to find a way to get out to the rest of the nation that, hey, there's places you can go and organize, and this is how we do it. I need everybody's help on figuring that out. You can find me at Renegade Chungus YouTube. I've got like 800 something subs, but we're killing it on the fundraiser. So come sub, please. I got to go cook some food before the next stream.
Nice. So you're tapping out?
I'll be back for the you said Arma, right?
Yeah, we're playing Arma after.
Dude, down. Let me go make some burgers.
Hell yeah. All right. So we'll see Renegade Chungus on the Arma stream later. We got Brett and then Nick from In Time.
Yeah, I just wanted to add in there as well on that. I don't know about where the people that are in America, but I don't see any Russian flags flying around and people saying "Go Russia" around me. It's always Ukrainian flags, and the world's still behind them. We're not going anywhere. Like I said, we're not getting tired from this, and we'll be there till victory.
Hell yeah, Nick from In Time.
I think I would suggest to them that, well, first of all, it's their resistance has been one of the most impressive things I've seen in my lifetime, and that there are people who recognize that, and there are people who recognize that resistance against, for lack of a better word, evil is as close to an absolute good as you can get, and that's what they're doing, and they are fighting a war for us because he's not going to stop. He's going to keep going, and he's going to try to take more. He's said it. This isn't my view is when a fascist dictator tells you they're going to do something, believe them. And so the war that they're fighting isn't just for Ukraine. It's for me and my kids, and it's for any country that wants to remain free. So. I feel as bad as anyone for the what the U.S. has done as a betrayal, really, and it's half of America because he got voted in by, but that just means that we have to fight too. And if we're going to have to fight, I can think of very few people I would more look up to than watching the Ukrainians and how they're handling it. So they are an inspiration, and very proud to consider any fights that we have to be ones in support of them because they're supporting us.
Oh yeah. You got any thoughts, Rudy?
No. Well, I mean, just the fact that this Trump administration doesn't represent the majority of Americans when it comes to Ukraine. Majority of us do care for Ukraine, and we do believe that they deserve our support. And I know. For myself, I'm going to be doing, as much as I'm able to do to support them, from making content to, whatever it is that I do. And they'll never lose my support. So.
Oh yeah, dude. That's how it's going to go. I want to open the floor here now to the panel. If anyone has a story, a moment, a reason why you got involved, let's go ahead and share it. You can go back to the start or any point. Can't I kind of shared his, but maybe more so why you got more involved in NAFO fundraising or Cars for Ukraine. Like, obviously that's how you started, Can't I? Now here you are on the stream. Maybe you helped fundraise before. Maybe you made a meme that blew up. Chungus would have been perfect for this one, but he had to go make burgers. Maybe you just showed up and felt like part of something. What do you got? Any small short story you have?
The one short story that sticks out for me is the first truck I helped fundraise. They were at like $800 out of 6,000, and the money that I was saving for 5 years to go on my trip went to that truck. That truck evacuated 17 soldiers from the front line before getting blown up. So my vacation was worth 17 lives. And that's really hard to swallow sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You don't have a short story like either Can't I or any other story why you got involved?
I really hate following up that with what I'm about to say, but I have a local game shop, like I said, and they have they sell like baked goods to help support the cafe, and they have this shelf of baklava. And there's like a little Ukrainian flag next to it. On this Ukrainian flag, it says this baklava is made by the Ukrainian refugees. In this, they've moved here from the war. I think it was 2020, 2021, or whatever year. It doesn't matter. The point is, they came. It was interesting to see how this thing that was just on my TV on this timeline is now in my backyard. This is a place I go every weekend, and there are people who are directly affected by it, and being helped by my city and asking for help at the place that I frequent. And it shows to show that you can say and talk about these things like they're so far away, but these are people. They could just as easily be in your backyard. They align with you, and you should help them. Whether that is buying their baklava, which is delicious, or donating to these sorts of things. And by the way, someone in my chat actually asked, other than this cars thing, do you guys have more links? Because I'm just going to keep throwing them into my description, so whatever help we can do, I really want to do that. So
yeah, these trucks are great, and if you stay plugged in, I'll have you on more panels. I'll have other opportunities for fundraising. We all do it.
Yeah, but if you have other donations or anything, just send them in Discord DMs, and I'll throw them in the description for this stream specifically. Sure. But yeah, thank you.
For sure. Yeah. Rudy or Rudy already went. Did you on this one? Anyone else have thoughts on a short story that you have?
Question. Can't.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Brett. Go ahead, Brett. No, you're fine.
You're in Ukraine, right? Can't I?
Oh yeah, I was there last spring for 3 months, and I'm going again this fall for 3 months.
And is that a 3D printer behind you?
Yes.
Are you making stuff for them?
No, that 3D printer is going in my luggage and going with me to Ukraine this fall.
Wow. Hell yeah.
Good times.
But you've been making tridents and
you've been making stuff. Show it.
I've been printing up, the tridents for the fundraisers and,
sick,
phone holders and.
Wow.
Oh, what? Where are you selling them at, or where can I find them?
Where can I buy
my
some?
channel?
Exactly.
Canty Luden 1 on YouTube, and there's community post tells you exactly what you need to do if you want one.
Okay, I'll
my
figure it out.
personal favorite is, let's see if I can get these on to show up on screen.
You got. Oh yeah.
So
yeah, those are nice. 3D printed, huh?
Yeah, the base is 3D printed, and then just taking ribbon and doing the cross.
Yeah.
The tridents are sick.
Oh, I see. Brett has some of them.
My son got one. My son got one for Christmas, and he's been.
It's Art Chad. Everyone say hi to Art Chad. Go check out his channel. He just hit 100,000.
Nick, do you have a story on what you got?
No. What I was going to do was say that I was trying to think of.
Me and him are going to work out at VidCon.
In particular, funny stories, and there's a lot of footage of Russians who can't organize and jumping off of tanks and stuff like that as they're running, but we've all seen it, so I was unable to. The only good story I have is Starsky's drone story, but that's stolen. But that's a good story, but that's the only one I can steal from someone else. That's it.
Absolutely. Rudy, did you gave your story or no? Or any short story, so why you kind of already said why you've gotten involved. I mean, more so like why you attached to this fundraiser, or like why do you like trucks? Why do you like helping with trucks or anything that you like fundraising or supporting?
Just the fact, I mean, it's contributing, you know what I mean? Helping Ukraine, and this was just the first, meaningful way that I was able to help. So, I mean, that's pretty much. I've been wanting to get involved. I'm still new, although I am seeing me getting monetized. It's almost in my reach. I've been wanting to get involved with helping Ukraine for a while. So,
absolutely, hell yeah. Brett.
I just remembered something, a good story from this. I met when I first got on Blue Sky. There was one of the fellows that I was friends with, and then another gentleman who I just started talking to, and we were talking about Propanenko, the commander for. He was a prisoner of war and got released. Dennis, I forget what his call sign was too, but I posted a story about him, and this gentleman reached out to me and DM'd me, and he was telling me about his brother who was fighting for Ukraine, and we kind of connected and were DMing, and then all of a sudden I bumped into who I thought he was talking about as one of the fellows on Blue Sky. And I asked him, I didn't want to blow any OPSEC or anything, but I connected the two of them. It turns out this is a message that I got like the next day. Sent to Bob, oh my God, you have no idea how much you have helped heal a family. John has been in the military serving in units with no names since the 80s. He's been involved in every major conflict since then as a sniper. He was home safe in 2017. Then we watched the news and saw ISIS killing kids. I knew from the look in his eyes he was already gone. 3 weeks later, he was fighting alongside the Kurds. He was on his way back when Putin started killing kids, and he diverted. The next I heard of him, he was on the BBC News when he was in Russia facing the death penalty. Meanwhile, everything here shattered. His mom died of cancer. He got cancer. The family home went. He was a victim of identity theft while he was in the hospital. He lost all his social media accounts, phones, bank accounts, everything. He's not spoken to John in 7 years. He thought that he had been shunned, that he had no access to his Facebook's accounts, that he thought John just gave up on him. You saw our first contact. He's talking about me, and he spoke to him that day, and he's seeing him next week. I had only joined here. She's talking about Blue Sky a week ago. I'd long since had any notions of fate or angels around me. The last thing I expected was a random yank, flyboy, he's talking about me, stepping in with some divine intervention shit and healing me. As a military man, an angel, I bet that's a first for you. I trust you to keep this info from the public. I'm happy for you to tell your family. Well, you guys don't know the names of them.
Oh, look at the time.
Wow. Gotta end the stream, my bad. Wow. Oh, goodness. What a story,
Do you work for the Trump campaign? Out of curiosity?
Up until that last sentence, I was like, hey, your OPSEC was better than our NSA.
What's this journalist doing on here?
Yeah. What is Goldberg doing in the panel?
No, you guys don't know his names or anything.
No, it was fine.
It made my whole experience doing all of this worth it. So
of course. And thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, you didn't give a name or anyone. We don't know who that is, but it's a good, touching story. Good story. That really tells us, the importance of supporting Ukraine. For me, like I said, I was just playing Madden. I had a moderately decent Madden stream going, of a lot of people watching, and then Russia invaded Ukraine, and I switched gears from streaming Madden football to now recovering. Well, I had my journalism platform already established from 2020, but I have a gaming platform too, so that's what I was putting my energy into. And then my news channel followers pulled me into covering Ukraine or Russia's invasion, and I was up for 14 hours straight, on stream. Went to bed with the stream running, came back, that's been watching me for a while. So it was just wrong. Russia sending missiles at apartment buildings bothered me, as usually anybody would be bothered by that. So That's what I got involved into, just covering it every single day. And then when I found out ways that I could support Ukraine directly, whether through NAFO or this Cars for Ukraine fundraiser, I mean, I just played a video at the start of watching the trucks roll out to the front lines, and that's pretty transparent. And people are asking for transparency these days. And let's a quick check-in on that before we get to our closing remarks from everybody for being a part of this amazing panel. And we're doing excellent. 9,000.
Albert, I'll get to that in just a second. Thank you so much.
Click. Yeah, 9,851 out of 56 donations. I appreciate that support for our fundraiser, and overall together with all of our efforts, we're at 45,125 euro out of 220,000 euro, 481 donations. And thank you to everybody for contributing to this. We had a big 208 euro from Marta. Thank you so much, Marta. And then we also had Dunk on You 23 drop some, Alex, Doug, Bradley, Levi, Jennifer, Stepan, Edward, Alan, and Andrew dropped donations today during our Panelooza. We had a panel earlier and we had a panel now, and we're just paneling it up today on this Friday with everyone. So I appreciate your guys' support on that one. All right. So before we wrap up, I want to go around one more time and hear final thoughts from everybody. Could be a message to supporters, something you learned tonight, or just a final thought, on anything. And then also shout out your channel and where people can follow you. All right. In any order, let's just start with Rudy.
I was hoping I was gonna go last or second to last or something, but yeah, no, just we're gonna keep on supporting Ukraine and getting as much donations as possible. My channel is Rudy's Reaction, and you may be able to find it under Rudy Acosta. It has two big old R's right next to each other, so that's my channel. It's pretty you can spot it out pretty easy, but I'm sure I'll be doing this again with you guys here soon, and I look forward to it. Also, it was nice to meet In Time Show Nick, I believe, and
yes,
the soy pill. I'm pretty sure I think I've seen it in your channel actually. But anyways, it was nice to meet you guys.
Of course, thank you, Rudy.
Nice
Brett.
Yeah, Nick, I've watched you on, I don't know if it was on Mercado's channel with another stream, or Dylan. I watch Dylan Burns a lot too. I watch both Andy Mercado and Dylan Burns.
Let's go, Dylan.
Silicon Curtain, as well as ATP Geopolitics, and Soy Pill. I've seen you, I think, on Dylan Burns' channel as well. So it's nice to meet you guys, and this is a great cause. It's a great group of people so far. Everybody that I've met. The new people, can't I? It was pleasure meeting you, and glad to hear your story and everything. I'm just only on Blue Sky. I was on X to follow this war, but with my hate of Trump and Musk, that was quickly cut short, and I was banned from there. 2 days before the elections, not shocking, not surprising enough. But I'm on Blue Sky. It's Baba Yaga Fella Baba Yaga Fella social.bsky.
Oh yeah, it's a long one. I told you it's like my military account, andrew.mercado.mil@mail.mil.com.org. Like, it was the worst. All right, can't I?
Well, first I want to shout out all the anonymous donations out there on the donor wall. Thank you guys for donating. We don't get to say your name or see that it was you, but we do appreciate it. And if you can't donate, look at ways to donate your time. There is so many other groups out there. Like one of the groups I work with is Engine. English IN. They help Ukrainians practice and learn English. I've helped 4 students so far. I shouldn't say students, but partners practice and improve their English. The only requirement is that you're a native English speaker. Those 4 people now have higher paying, better jobs, and they're able to donate because of those promotions, because they learned English better. So you can have add-on effects, even just spending an hour a week.
Absolutely. Nick from In Time.
Well, first of all, it was a pleasure meeting all of you guys. I've actually already known most of you. I know Canty well. I go into his live chat and cause trouble all the time. It's an absolute delight. My first time streaming with many of you, so that was a pleasure. Holy fuck. I mean, the amount of shit that's been going wrong when you take a look at Ukraine and wars and Trump, and I knew Trump was going to screw stuff up, but this is just insane. And I love the signal thing because it's the epitome of Trumpiness. It's the epitome of this whole thing. And so you look at it and you say, this can't be real, but it is. And so I guess as a final message, what I would say is, there's a lot of suffering that we're watching and covering, and we see, and it gets tough. And Canty every night goes through the suffering and some of the positives that you see in Ukraine and and soy, and it can get hard. But life is strange. The signal, and here we had. I thought that Ukraine was done when Trump said we're cutting off when they said that we're cutting off the funding. I was like, okay, maybe you can help. And then he's like, we're cutting off the intel too. And I was just like, what? I mean, are you trying to murder human beings? I mean, what do you? So I mean, are you personally best friends with Satan, or just explain it to me? And then all of a sudden, in walks Zelensky, calm head, doesn't freak out, gets everything he wanted back, and goes right back to and it's not done, it's not over. And so there are people, there's about 300 watching here, there's people watching with Soy and on others, and a lot of them are saying, I wish I could do more. Well, there are these donations that people can do. You can like and subscribe to Merc and to people who are helping others learn about this. But life is strange and life is short. So if you're in a comfortable position right now, it may not be in 5 or 6 years. If you're in a horrible position, you might get that angel that Brett was talking about. You never know. And we've seen it. That's why, Zelensky just pulled a miracle out of his ass twice. I don't know what's going to happen. But everybody listening to me right now has a friend who maybe needs some help too. Maybe it's financial, maybe it's not. I don't know. All of you here know people. The better we are and the more that we put out, the better we tend to get back. It's not a one-to-one. Good people die. Bad things happen. Make it better for other people as best you can. And then your life means something, because life is going to be, I guarantee you, life is going to be shorter than you thought it was going to be. My name is Nick Suter. I am the executive producer and head host of In Time. You can find us at youtube.com/In Time Show. Once again, thank you all. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Nick. Before we get to Soy Pill, Brett has a comment.
Yeah, hi guys. I got to jump off to eat dinner with the family,
Okay,
but
yep.
it was a pleasure. Like I said,
Nice to meet you.
it was nice meeting some of the newer people, and I'll be back anytime I'm available, and you invite me, Mark. I'll be back.
Sounds good, Brett. Thanks for your
Thanks.
time. Yep, take care.
Thanks.
All right, and the Soy Pill.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. Well, like everyone said, this is an unjust war. We need to support them any way we can. Donations, volunteering, all of that is very good. And I really appreciate Nick and everyone else here who taught me, like answered my questions and helped me get more informed on this. I had vague, knowings of all this stuff, but you guys are really deep into it. And I appreciate the knowledge that you bring and educating people like me. And just to my audience and anyone else who's listening, a big staple of my channel is trying to reach out to people that don't agree with you and try to convince them. Do that where you can and talk to them about how crazy it is that our president is letting Russia do these insane things. Talk to them about, try to leverage their hatred of Iran. I know it's not great, sometimes it's tied to Islamophobia for some right wingers, but hey, play the cards as you get them, play as they lie. So do what you can, try to reach out to people, convince them that Ukraine needs help, and help where you can, because this is really important. Innocent people are dying and it's an unjust war. Support Ukraine. Yeah. Oh, you can find me at the Soy Pill on YouTube. I make video essays and occasionally I do fundraisers now, which is awesome. So thanks for inviting me.
just getting conscripted into another Ukraine panel.
I was going to
right?
say, you mentioned Dylan Burns. I just replaced him on the previous debate panel because he had to drop out for hopefully not a crazy emergency. But
yeah.
now I'm here raising money for Ukraine. I guess I'm the new Dylan Burns. So.
You have. He was on our panel earlier. Yeah, he's just got some stuff going on.
Okay.
With him.
I just hope it's okay.
Yeah, it's just some stuff. It's our Easter fundraiser, you guys. Again, total €9,851 out of €11,000. I just want to give a huge thanks to everyone who pulled up tonight, whether you donated, tuned in, shared the link, or just vibed with us. You made a difference. Cars for Ukraine and this panel is not about big headlines like I cover, like the Soy Pills big eloquent videos on current events, right? We're just kind of putting together a fundraiser. It's about boots on the ground, trucks in motion, and lives saved. And the fact that we, a bunch of meme-loving, freedom-supporting, pro-Ukraine individuals, right, can help do that, that's power, I think. So even if you just catch us on replay, the link is going to be in the description. It's also pinned in the comments. The mission's still going. Let's get more wheels to the front lines. Slava Ukraine, and glory to the heroes. All right. Now, you guys have a fantastic rest of your night. I'm going to be on Arma if any of you guys want to come play. Can't I, Chungus? Maybe taking on the Russians.
In a half hour, so I'll join you guys after the stream.
Fun, guys.
All right.
I have made a determination. I will join you on one of your gaming streams, but you and I play different. I've got like Borderlands and all these others. We will sort it out. It ain't gonna be tonight, but I'm gonna be there.
We'll play Warzone when the new Verdansk comes out. Remastered Verdansk. Yep. All right, guys. You have a good night. Take care. And also, buy Soy Pills stream, buy In Time Show stream, and Can't I and Rudy, are you guys streaming?
Not yet.
No? Okay, well, In Time Show and Nick, Soy Pill. You guys have your chat. Have a good night.
Thanks.